Why is it so frowned upon in North America to live with family? Americans today frequently move for work or school, more so than other people do, so living with your parents can imply that you're not doing anything useful or are dependent. You know that's not true for your case, but you can't expect people to know that immediately. Anyway, the traditional thing is to live with your family until you get married. Independence. Americans are obsessed with self-reliance and independence to the obvious detriment of society. There are many people who are basically waiting for their kids to turn 18 so they get the fuck out of my house. Out-of-touch people don't understand how hard it is for young adults of this generation to afford rent. It used to be way cheaper. Just because it seems like you aren't successful, it's really dumb. And anyone who you date who makes fun of you for it shouldn't be considered at all. It's a good thing to live with your parents. And for you, it sounds like it did you really well. I wouldn't feel any shame at all. You made smart decisions. Back when more people were rich, it was a sign of immaturity not to move out right after high school or college. These days, it's foolish to move out and struggle when you could be helping your whole family to struggle less. If a healthy adult person is living at home like a child, not contributing anything and leaving messes instead of taking on adult bills and chores, that is laughable and pathetic. Since that's not you, point out to whoever's laughing that you have indeed made a nice life for yourself, as well as kept a close connection with your family, which was your goal. Good on you. To collect $200K in my early 20s, I should have sold some kidneys, liver, and whatever organs they can buy from me. In my opinion, taking this route is much smarter than moving out on your own and having to take on expensive bills. If your dad is okay with you living on his property, it's a steal of a deal. It makes no sense that it's frowned upon when you're simply making the choice to spend more time with your family while saving money. That's the smartest option for people who have it available to them. There's a cultural expectation toward leaving the nest, though it seems to take far longer these days than it used to, with cost of living being a significant reason. So many people think it's a sign of adulthood to leave the family home and live on your own. I read somewhere this only became common in America in the 1950s-60s. Prior to that, you stayed at home until you married. I am perfectly fine with my kids living with me for years, and maybe even their partners if I can stand them. It's too expensive out there. I'd rather they stay and save money. I don't think it's actually disapproved of offline. At least in my experience, it's only when people don't have anything going on. As a woman, I can say that when dating, I was looking for a partner rather than a burden. By post-70s North American standards, living at your parents' is most often seen a sign that either you cannot support yourself financially or that you still need your parents to care for you cooking, cleaning. I'm not saying that equating living at home with being unable to fend for yourself is right. As a matter of fact, living alone is hard financially and time-consuming. Been there a long time. Most people are happy to split bills and chores with their partner, so why not with their parents? That being said, a woman you just met does not know the state of your finances nor your level of implications in the household. And most of us lived plenty of stories of men unable to do something as simple as starting a washing machine. So yeah, though it would not be an absolute turn-off, living at one's parents in your late 20s would definitely raise questions for me partner-wise. As a friend, couldn't care less. People have this idea here that if you live with your parents, you are still under their influence and thus still a child. That you are not a real adult if you don't make all your own decisions without any other people's input at all. They see it as sort of arrested development. It's silly IMO. Very sensible. That's what families did in the old days. It worked for them. Several salaries sharing the cost of living, brilliant. I don't think that I would ever frown on that. I might enjoy a lighthearted chuckle with you about it, but I am not a frowner. It's a lifetime effect, a vestige of a bygone era, when people graduated high school in the spring, started their 45-year career at the factory in the fall, and got married the next summer. I think it is frowned upon because the North American culture is very focused on independence and freedom. So as for living with family, that does not fall under the independence part of the culture. The US has built itself with fighting for independence, as seen from the American Revolution and discovering the West. For many people it makes more financial sense to stay with family, and it is a great starting place for many people finding themselves. In the US, rugged individualism is like a sacred experience. There's a lot of value put on being independent from one's parents as young as possible. Kids who buy their own houses by the age of 30 are seen as success stories for their parents. I took a moment to come around, honestly. I'm Gen X and my family life growing up was terrible. So college and leaving at 18 was my ticket out of there. My wife had to remind me multiple times that other cultures have no problem with kids staying around longer. In Eastern cultures there can be multiple generations altogether. From a resources standpoint, it makes a lot of sense. From a family perspective too, we're hoping to get land where we can put down a tiny home together. The kids will always have a place to return to if needed. If not, we can rent it out to supplement us as we age or move into it and rent out the bigger house. That's the plan at least. This is slowly changing as dummies are adapting late like always. It doesn't matter what times we live in. Staying with parents a bit longer can put you ahead in life. The American dream was often marketed with a number of milestones, including buying a house. People love to tout how it was the best form of investment, though realistically for the majority it is a financial liability.